Morning, it's Papa Builder Things, Myshire Farm, MyshireFarm.com. We appreciate you sharing, pushing the like button, all that good stuff. Just wanted to show you, this is after the 4th of July. We had our lemonade stand up. This is the terrible conditions I have to live in, looking at this pond and this beautiful scenery every day. Just terrible, terrible. Our scissor strip canoe that I made, I didn't make it. Me and my friends made it. He mostly made it. I just kind of facilitated it. And but it's a great canoe, nice, fun build. Over here, we're going to expand over here. We got our pizza oven that you keep hearing about, and we have a video on how we made it, which was a fun make. I did want to show you these guys here. These are something else I kind of had a little post on. This was a log that we hand split, knifed down, and a chunk of stainless steel that I bent up. He made this little thing here. Anyhow, making our little tools there is kind of fun too. Quick little project. This was kind of my brainchild here, to put a back door on this so that we can load the wood in from the side here. This is all fire brick and yaka. It took 2 people to lift the door up. It was kind of heavy. So we're going to start over here. We'll go into the vineyard, which is not much of a vineyard anymore, but we'll get her back. This is our knife and hatchet target. And granddaughter cut her finger pretty good a couple days ago. I don't know why those things have to be so sharp, but I guess they do. So we used to have this vineyard working pretty good, but 3 years of trying to build a quail business got neglect. But even so, I'm really surprised at how many we've lost. But with a little help, they'll come back. But we've definitely got some grapes here, which is kind of fun. And this one's actually starting to turn purple. Over here we got our beehives. I've been doing bees for quite a while. I made every piece of these hives, including the frames. Know anything about beehives? My philosophy on this is, why would you buy one for $1 when you could make it for $3? So these actually all died out this early spring, but we have a new hive that decided to move back in, thank goodness. And the brood's starting to come on pretty good. They're kind of getting in through the back door more than they are the front door. And I think they'll be fine. This garden over here is a moved-in garden. The pond had leaks when we moved in, and we had it re-clayed, I guess you would say. And all the muck from 50 years they brought up, and I said, yikes, man, that looks like really good muck. Why don't you put it in my front yard and I'll make a garden out of it? So all this dirt here was brought in from one thing or another, and of course over the years we were able to add our compost. So it's probably year 6 or so trying to get this soil the way I'd like to have it. It's what was the date that I said it was? The 16th of July. Our ears of corn are starting to fill out. Somebody just mowed down our second planting. They just mowed it down. Jack, if you want to stay there, I'm going to show them these hoes, my hoe. These are a hoe that I make out of a saw blade. A friend of mine showed me this design. He loves it. This is more of a surgical piece here with a short handle. But It's not terribly sharp, but what it does is, and I left these so I could show you, what it does is the dirt just slides right over top of it. So like yo, and then if you just gotta get a root, you can flip that up on its edge and get you one. So it's a gotta have tool. They do sell hoes like this. They're not terribly easy to find. I've seen one at an organic convention one time, but it goes through a lot of garden in a hurry. I just can't imagine why they even designed a hoe the way they do. Now, if you're burying potatoes or something, you know, you'd want a regular hoe, I suppose. But for hoe in the garden, you ain't gonna do no better than this. It is just a tool. And then you get in a tight spot, you can stand that up on edge and pick that baby right out. So, see if I can't snag this guy. Bam! Look at that. You ain't gonna do that with a hoe. So, that's probably the biggest nugget for today is this design. If you can find one, again, I take a hoe, cut it off, and re-weld that plate on. I've broken this one. This is more for surgery, but it's a good tool for sure. That is rooted. Anyhow, it's kind of fun. These are our extra tomato plants. One of these seconds will, about now is when I like to start cloning my tomato plants in terms of which one I want to clone. We don't have a great deal of grape tomato plants this year. Our potatoes seems like they've died off a little early this year, which is kind of a shame because this year I was able to keep them hoed. It's our rhubarb here. And then Zach, why don't you come on in? I want to show you. These are all our sunflower seeds. Sunflowers, just kind of fun. This tomato plant here is a pretty decent tomato plant. We probably might be in line to clone. You come around here and I can kind of show you how it's delivering here. We've been getting tomatoes, I don't know, for a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. Here we got our winter squash going. There's a couple squash already developing. And then we got, this is our acorn squash. Quite a few of these are already developing here. These are already kind of getting to a pretty decent size over here. We got three here and yakalaka. This all seems funny when you plant these things 5 foot apart. But as you see, you know, they need every inch of it when it starts to fill out. These are our peas. We'll go over to our other garden. As I mentioned, these are actually somebody else's peppers, but man, they are really doing well. As I mentioned, our new quail barn is on the site of the original farm kitchen garden. It was a pretty big garden, 2,400 feet or so, and now the barn occupies that space. I don't know that we'll try to redevelop another garden, but we might. So, and these people that say, you know, when times get tough, I'll just dig up my front yard. No. It takes a long time to get the dirt even remotely conditioned for a good garden. This was a fun build. I got pneumonia over it, welding some galvanized. So this is the tank itself. It's a real wooden tank but I lined it with PVC roofing, which is a heat sealed thing. So so there's no pressure treat, exposure to the water. And then the little topper thing was kind of a fun build. So I'm going to turn this on. We're going to show you just how much water pressure you get out of it. Now this is 200 and some gallons there, and I use 20 gallons a day to water these tomatoes. Again, these tomatoes were planted 5 foot apart. They look kind of silly until you start where you can't even get through them. But this is the water that's coming out of that tank, which is only 6-7 foot, out of the ground, and it has some water pressure. It's just crazy how much it does. But the way I do this, I let a bucket fill up, and then I'll go down and water a row. By the time I get back, that'll be sort of filled. This guy here would definitely be one of our romaine type tomatoes that we'll be wanting to clone, and that'll be a different video on cloning your tomatoes. The long and the short of it is and I don't see any candidates here, which is kind of sucks because I really would love to clone this thing. Is we'll take the sucker off of it. Here we go. Here's a clone suspect right here. This guy right here. I'll cut that off, and we'll root that, and we'll end up with this plant again with all of its wonderful properties. So we're filled now. I'll dump this over here. We got a good dog watching it. That's good, Maggie. You did a great job. And so I go down this row here and splash this water in here, and I'm getting pretty good at being able to distribute it. Another dandy plant. Another dandy plant. This guy here is wild. I try to keep it all contained in these baskets, but when they're growing, they grow so fast, it just, if you miss a day of poking it back in here, all is lost. So that's how I water these guys, and I do need to water these. I haven't watered these this morning. By the time I doodle it a little bit, this guy will be full. We won't bore you with that. I'll turn this off. And that's how I get them watered. Now the reason I use the rainwater, as before in the previous videos that I've done, I've explained to you that we don't have a whole lot of water up here. But primarily it's because I didn't really care for the pH. And I wanted to get a little lower pH than what our well was delivering for watering the greenhouse. The greenhouse is a mess right now. We'll do another video on that when we do the cloning and show you how the greenhouse works. I don't know that we will, don't know that we won't, but that's my solar hot water heat for the winter time that heats up the solar greenhouse if the sun's out. Behind that, I have a bank of electric solar array that actually I used this morning to help fill that tank up again. So, because we have not had any rain, and I use these 55s and all those as kind of an overflow to that, simply because I want the thing. I had a friend of mine spray these trees, killed them. That was all. That was real helpful. Very helpful. We got all these little suckers. We're going to have a lot of tomatoes. So this is a hoop house here that we bought as used, and our peacocks that we keep. What? Oh, this is running too long, and we're going to do a different video on this. Okay, so anyhow, thanks for watching. Dennis Myshire Farm, and I'm going to keep them coming here for the next few days, so keep tuned in. Bye-bye.